started with some items. So thanks for taking some time today to join us for our second marketing roundtable. We had some really good conversation last time, and we just felt like there's probably a reason to kind of reconnect, and things have rapidly changed, and some people are looking at reopening soon. Some people have no reopening date yet, and then there's all of us that are in between. So yeah, so thanks for hopping on with us. Just as a reminder, NIRSA records all of these, so this will be up live in the next day or two, in the same spot that you guys registered for this for. And feel free to utilize the chat box. Go ahead and drop your name, where you're from, maybe your position. Feel free to let us know who you are, where you come from. And then, yeah, feel free to unmute yourselves at any time if you want to jump in and ask a question. But yeah, I'm grateful to have you all here, and happy Monday. So my name is Krista, Krista Herring. I work at the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs. I oversee marketing and communications, as well as membership at UCCS. And we are currently closed campus rec with no potential open date. And then my co-facilitator is Kendra. I will let her introduce herself.
Hi everyone, Kendra Moretti here. I am currently a grad assistant with marketing at Belmont University. And then I know Krista because she was my old boss when I went to undergrad at UCCS. So I'm excited to be here and learn from you all because like Krista said last time, we had a lot of good conversations about marketing, and again, it's probably changed already. So let's get started.
All right, so I just wanted to check in, see how everyone's doing, you know, and if you're wanting some additional check-ins from myself or Kendra or anyone else on the team, we get what's going on, we feel you, and in your capacity, it's a lot different if you're overseeing marketing, because I bet a lot of you are the go-to person to get communications out about what's happening, what you guys are offering. So throughout this call, feel free to drop your name, your email. I have a student on this call who's going to be monitoring that, and we're going to try to collect a group of contact information, and I would love to reach out to you and just say hi, check in. So feel free to drop that in the comments at any time. And yeah, so that's just my little plug, my self-care plug to my fellow marketing professionals. We do have some questions that we didn't quite get to last time, and then I had a document that some people added to. Love seeing all of your emails come in. I'll definitely check in on you. So we'll start to roll through those questions, but feel free to hop in with your input, any follow-up questions or non-related questions at any time. Kendra and I are just here to facilitate. We're not here to tell you all the things that we may or may not know. So we really want this to be a collective effort. So the first one that we have is, you know, just to kick us off is like, what's been really good, what's been really successful for you all from a marketing or advertising perspective that you're really proud of and that you maybe want to share or kind of just give yourself a pat on the back about. Yeah, feel free to drop those in the comments or hop on. We'd love to hear from you. So something I'm really excited about, and I know a lot of you are actually involved in this, is the 2020 recreation movement. That's been something really, really exciting and really great for all of us to collaborate and work smarter, not harder. So that's been really successful. We've met that 1 million mark. We still have 4 million to go, and we got the extension date to the end of May for that. So I'm really excited about that. That's been something that our campus has had a lot of great feedback for us about. So if you're in that, awesome. If you're not, go check it out. You're more than welcome to join in. I'm happy to give you that information. Looks like, let's see, what do we have in the comments? Good things from administration. students about our YouTube taped group X classes. Yeah, I mean, being able to transfer everything online has been a huge trial for a lot of us. So yeah, anything good that you're doing, feel free to continue to drop those in the comments or hop on to say, because if it's working well for you, it might work well for someone else. So yeah, we'd love to hear that throughout the call too. Does anybody else have anything they want to share about something they're doing? Cool. Well, feel free to continue to drop those in the chat box. We talked a little bit about this last time, but let's just revisit it a little bit because things may have changed. So with a high demand from all the different program areas, you know, club sports, intramural sports, fitness, outdoors, etc. How have you been prioritizing and organizing your social media content calendars in a way that is not overwhelming your audience? Does anyone have any good advice for that?
So this is Anthony from Central Arkansas. I think one of the things is that I guess I'd call it kind of like a vetting process. We went into our Google Forms and created like a request form that each of our professionals have to fill something out. And it's limited in its size. So we kind of take those users and abusers of information that think they should vomit everything out, and we've kind of kept it corralled a little bit.
Awesome, thank you. Let's see, using OneDrive and shared drive. Yeah, for us, we still right now have a central social media person. So everyone is kind of sending requests to that individual, getting things posted, which she serves on my student marketing team, but I won't have students past May 30th. So that will then fall on my shoulders. So yeah, does anyone else have any recommendations, suggestions, so you're not overwhelming your audience? Southern Miss said we try to work on all area posts the week prior and then get them into slots for each social platform. We post at the same time so our audience can expect when to check the latest news in the event it isn't on their news feed. And then looks like Lindsay shared their more specific calendar. So thanks for sharing that as a resource from Duke.
My name is Krista Rodriguez, and I'm from UT Rio Grande Valley in South Texas, and we're actually moving to a new scheduling platform called Traject Social. That's our institution is highly recommending us to do. They've actually paid for it, and so we're able to jump on, so we don't have to pay, thankfully. But we got a small little introduction to it last week, and it's something I'm actually interested in further. I know someone made a comment about posting on every social media platform at the same time. The nice thing about Traject, it actually will, the platforms that you're connected to, it will notice your audiences as to what time they're actually on it. So on Facebook, it might be like 2:56 p.m. is actually a high traffic time that you would post, versus on Twitter, it's at 1:36. And so I thought that was kind of interesting because we were in the same boat of wanting to post all at the same time. And then we've kind of tried scattering a bit. We currently are using Buffer for free, and I don't know if it's fixed its Instagram issue. It's just something that I'm venturing into in this coming week. So I'm scheduled to connect all of our accounts to that. But we use Buffer right now, and we do the free version. We schedule out on our Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And so it's kind of helped us. So we do that way, but we've actually designated the times that we thought. So the fact that Traject is going to have that opportunity to see what our actual audiences is looking for, then that will help us out. because we've just noticed, at least on our Facebook account, 2 to 8 p.m. is our high traffic location. So we've kind of just took that 2 to 8 for all of our social media platforms to just post. And so we're actually looking at every single post right now and backtracking to figure out what has been a hit or a miss. So then moving for May or summer base, we'll have a bit more traction we can flow with. So it's something new.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Cool. So while we're on the topic of social media, what is working best for everyone to track metrics and analytics? And someone wanted to know specifically, like, what are you tracking? I know, like, for us, administration really wants us to know, like, you know, participation data, things like that. But yes, so what are you tracking? And then is there anything that you've started tracking because you're doing things more remotely now that you weren't before?
I'm from the University of Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada. So I've just been using the built-in insights and going back and just checking the posts, looking at the engagement rates on there and just kind of doing it that way. I haven't used any particular software, but right now with the amount of time I have, I kind of just filter each post. One question I have for everyone is like, how many posts on average are people doing a week compared to like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter? Obviously it'll vary depending on your week, but what's everyone's kind of goals with the current situation?
I can speak on that here at Belmont. So we actually just ended our semester, so it might be a little different since we have ended and now into our summer schedule, but we're planning only to do 3 a week, just to scale back a little bit, because in the semester we were posting a little bit more. So I hope that's helpful, Ben.
For us, we post pretty much every day, maybe like max 5-ish times on our Instagram story. We only post less than a handful of times to our actual Instagram feed. We have a very specific look and feel for our Instagram. And then Facebook, that's going to be more about our live events. So like our live group fitness classes. So we try to post about those a couple hours in advance to remind people that it's happening that day. But it's definitely, Facebook is for our older student population, and faculty, staff, alumni is more of our focus. So kind of being mindful of their patterns, like you get in for the workday, maybe you check that kind of stuff, maybe around lunchtime and then after work is kind of like the pattern we fall for that. Twitter, we don't have a Twitter anymore. We consolidated with some other departments on campus, and that's all we have.
Hi, this is Maria from Princeton. For us, we post on our Instagram feed about like twice, maybe up to 3 or 4 times, specific like guidelines that we want to follow for our feed. I'm sorry if I'm lagging. And then our stories, we post about actually every day, 7 days a week. We have different themes per day that we'll post onto our story just to get like instant engagement from our followers rather than it being passive with likes. Facebook, it's not as much. And then we'll do more updates onto our Twitter because we have it embedded onto our website. So we want that whatever we have changes to be onto our webpage too. So it's just easier that way, kind of just figuring out what specific messaging we want to do.
Thanks, Maria. Good to see you.
Is anyone utilizing Instagram TV either too? I know we're starting to do our children camp videos, so I'm going to start putting them in the TV. And then we also have a department called Dr. Paul Schwann, which is more like chiropractor and recreation. So you can set all the videos to series so they can be reconciled with each other.
So we've started getting into IGTV, but it's not there yet. We're trying to figure out all the kinks for that. I know some people have that like mastered, so if you do, let us know. But yeah, because Facebook owns Instagram, things that you can put through Facebook, it can go into your IGTV. So we're just trying to figure out the best way to utilize that. The one that was most popular for us that we just did was like our student appreciation video. So all of us pro staff took a video of one another, and we compiled that all together, just saying thank you. And that was like pretty widespread as far as views and whatnot. So, but that went to our IGTV. We shared that out via our Instagram story. But that's like new waters for us for sure.
I can back up on IGTV. We recently tried like our first video, I think 2 weeks ago. And I wasn't I guess I didn't do enough research to see what it would look like when you go into publishing. So when I went to the site and realized like there's a specific title that's separate from the description, and then that you have the option to put it onto your grid as well. So I think that's also something to take into account. So it populates on for people to see it. But if you don't want it onto your grid, you have that option to take it off. Which is cool too on IGTV is you could upload a cover photo. So say there was no clip that you didn't like, that's another option. If you wanted to create a graphic so it pops out more, whatever that you want to do. And you could also adjust how it fits. So there's a lot of options into IGTV. I just recommend kind of looking into it before you publish it, because I went in and tried to upload and realized that the section that was showing onto our grid didn't look as nice as what I would have wanted if I were to do it on the grid normally.
Cool. If you guys have any more advice on IGTV, feel free to drop that in the chat or hop on and we can backtrack to it. But speaking of videos and stuff, let's jump over to YouTube. So we had a question from someone about, for those of you putting group fitness classes on YouTube, what's your process? Like, are students like just uploading them to YouTube? Are you doing it, etc.? So I have a very detailed process that I've had to create some guidelines for. And the easiest way, just like for us to manage capacity with how much work time we had for that, while we had student staff, students are going to upload that to our YouTube and mark it as unpublished. And then that way the supervisor has to go in, check out the video to make sure it looks good and that the captioning is on there. And there's a couple ways you can auto caption or you can manually caption with that. And then the supervisor, once it's approved, would either publish it or schedule it to be published. And then I have further processes in place if they need the marketing team to share that out. So if anyone wants that step-by-step process, I'll give my information at the end of this call, and feel free to email me and I'm happy to share that document with you. It's really detailed down to all the options you can select. So yeah, but does anyone else have different processes for their YouTube? Like, are you going live on Facebook or somewhere else, Zoom, and you're recording it and you're uploading it? Or are you just having them do YouTube specific videos? Ours are just made for YouTube.
I guess I have a follow-up question to that. Since everyone's using Zoom as a platform right now, has anyone added the feature of going live on your social media platform? So Zoom has it where you can like check on your advanced settings to make it go live on your Facebook, if not YouTube channel, simultaneously. And so now you have like 3 different platforms you can manage. I don't know if anybody has done that yet. I just learned of it, so I'm trying to figure out which programming event would be like the guinea pig to test this out with, but I don't know if anybody has had that opportunity to do so yet.
Hi, so my name is Anisha, and I recently went live on Zoom for a radio talk show. Hello?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, okay. I wasn't sure if you could hear me. So, but my husband did the setting, and we had received a link with the information, and all we did was just click, and I went live.
For those that have used it, I know Zoom has it where you have like a chat feature or Q&A, whatever you guys have designated. But when you guys go live on Facebook, do you also have a chat feature that's also there? And if so, do you have to have like someone, a second person managing, like moderating that?
So for us, we generally do. If we don't, we put a little message at the top saying, hey, like only the instructor is here, so she'll be checking it or he'll be checking it while they can. Otherwise, we have, if someone's available, like we have some that are an hour and then some that are 20 minutes. So just kind of depends on if we have the capacity for someone to sit through an entire class to manage that. Otherwise, we just leave a message at the top so then people know that it's not being monitored. And then going back to your question about Zoom and sharing it to the social media, I've never tried it. I don't know if I want to. It's kind of a scary situation for me, just trying all the new things. But if you do try it, let me know how it works. I'd be interested in how it worked out for you. And it looks like during like town halls and stuff, there's other chats going on and there is someone managing that. So it sounds like some people have the capacity to do, you know, have a chat managed, but not everyone. Cool. So I guess if you guys have any other follow-up questions, feel free to drop those in the chat or unmute yourself. We have a couple more follow-up questions, but we're nearing the end of my follow-up list. So feel free to start dropping questions into the chat that you'd like answered that would help you out. And then we'll start to get through those. So last time we had mentioned talking about any like giveaways you're doing, like promo items and stuff like that. So we had talked about like some people are dropping them off, like doing a drop off or mailing them, or just saying, hey, when we're back on campus, you're going to be free to come pick up your stuff. But I guess the follow-up question with that is, now that we're kind of dealing with some financial issues at some institutions, what's everyone's general thoughts about the financial, reputation, implications of giving away items, especially if you're experiencing budget cuts? Does anyone have any advice or just like general thoughts on that?
Hi, my name is Mabel. I'm an ACUI member. I was invited to this, to NIRSA, and I'm sorry because, two babies here, two babies. I just wanted to let you guys know that what we have done is we have done all of our prize giveaways from our bookstore, from our university bookstore. It doesn't really answer the question that you were posting, like how do you justify it, but it does help to keep the narrative of keeping the money within the university. So I'm going to go ahead and press mute right now because babies.
You're doing awesome. Thank you.
I have heard from other colleagues on campus that they've actually done like pizza giveaways. Again, I know it's not the healthiest aspect. Don't judge, please. But they've worked with vendors before, so they already have the exempt letter, and we already have our P card worked with them. So they've actually, for a prize, they'll do a direct message to that student or participant saying, hey, can I have your address? And then a day and time they work with their delivery person to get it delivered. So whether it's Domino's Pizza or whatever it is, they work with them and that's what's delivered. So they already get the receipt from the vendor themselves, but they do ask for the student to send them a screenshot of the receipt. So that means that it was like received. I thought that was kind of cool and interesting in the sense of how do you give something instant, you know, instantaneous to them. I know it's not a product of the institution with its brand or anything of sorts, but that was an option worth considering. Um, and then I know we've ventured with our mailing service department, asking them like what's their price point versus going out and like going just outsourcing that part. So those are a couple of the conversations we've had with our institution. But I know it's exactly the non-question of how do you spend without spending money. So those are options for spending, I guess. Um,
That's great. Thank you. It sounds like some people are definitely not spending money, not giving away things. I definitely am not going to be able to do my promo item order for the next year. I saw someone else had that experience too. Yeah, and a lot of us are having to kind of like justify our budgets a little bit. So, you know, definitely with the, you know, marketing social media aspect of a lot of our positions, you know, that's a great way to show engagement in participation data. So whatever, you know, spare time, if you have it, or if you have students to help you, it's great to definitely try to track that information in case you ever are needing to justify any budget issues that may come up. Let's see. Yeah, some giveaway stuff happening, but how they're going to be given to that person is TBD. Yeah, a lot of not spending. Is anyone using e-gift cards? If you are, can you jump on and talk about that? I guess no one is. Okay, cool. Well, that was helpful, I think. I hope whoever asked that question found that found those answers to be helpful. And then, so the last question before we jump into today's questions, you know, wherever you're at, whether you have an open date, you have a tentative open date, or you don't have any idea what's going on, what is your plan for summer programming as far as marketing for summer programs, or even just operations? So are you putting time into designing materials, or are you just kind of waiting to have more direction from your school or administration, or just have an opening date established? I know definitely for us, we've been given the direction to focus on fall, in the event that we are only, you know, open to some very little capacity, if at all, over the summer. But I didn't know how everyone else was managing that. So yeah, if you want to jump in and talk about summer programming, you can unmute yourselves or just leave it in the chat. That would be super helpful.
So Vicki Avila with the University of Houston. Can you hear me? Hi. Because we are in we've actually had to redo the budget. One of the things is if we can't have program in the fall, we might not be able to have certain programs. So we have decided that we're going to do everything still kind of virtually. Because my budget was cut, you know, we can't do flyers, very minimum signage or banners around the building, and they're definitely going to be, you know, stay away from people. So that's all has been, we call it a hot mess right now. So there's still a lot of unknown of how, you know, are the students going to be allowed to be coming back on campus? Or, you know, are they going to be there? Is my street team student ambassadors going to be able to go out and touch people? I mean, so it's everything's still kind of up in the air, very unknown. I don't know what else to say besides my budget got cut, so there's not much I can do. Definitely everything's going to probably still be kind of digital signage around the campus, the building, and then social media, strong social media.
Thanks for sharing. I definitely feel the budget cuts.
Yeah, we just did them today.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
My name is Mary Stoffel. I'm from Southern Illinois University down south, the bottom part of Illinois. So we're kind of a rural area. So all the jurisdictions happening because of Chicago is kind of a pretty major hotspot. So, but as far as I know, the tentative opening time for us is June 1st. Given the circumstances with our governor, we'll kind of see it's day by day. I'm sure you all know that, but our programming's kind of off the table now, and it seems like our facilities is pretty much the main focus right now. We have been getting a lot of requests for all sorts of interesting signage for behavior modification inside the building. A lot of wait here, decals are being ordered, a lot of putting equipment offline, alternating equipment requests are coming in. Some social norming about distancing is going to be prominent in our campaign. So there's definitely more like busy work with our facilities requests, but as far as programming, it is like a pin drop silent. So we're just kind of bracing ourselves because, you know, we don't know in Illinois either if our students are coming to campus in the fall or if they're going to be online. It's just, you know, it's a mess because we also still have our community memberships and our community members to accommodate. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Hello, my name is Caitlin Pomerlow. I'm from James Madison University in Virginia, and we are very much so moving forward with virtual programming over the summer as we normally would. So we normally do we call it a Maymester session, which is the first 4 weeks of the summer. And so we're doing a Maymester Mayhem. We're just converting it to virtual, and we're going to come out with we have 4 4-week series that we're putting out. And so we're doing Taco Tuesdays and a disc golf series since our disc golf course is still open, a crafting series, an adventure guidebook series on some of the less popular trails or like wider trails in our area. And so I'm trying to figure out how to package those series and how to promote it without over like filling our social feed. So I'm either looking into the premiere function in YouTube. So if anyone's used that, I would be interested to talk offline, or setting up series in IGTV, but I'm concerned about the quality of content. So I'm also seeing some things in the chat about guides for students shooting on their cell phones and how you all are controlling quality. And if you ever, I'm experiencing a lot of like, I want to maintain our brand and our reputation, but also have to deal with what I get. So I'm kind of interested to see maybe what some of that language is in some of those guides. I don't know, that was kind of a lot, but that's kind of how we're handling it because our classes are still online. We're doing everything online all summer.
Yeah, so if anyone has any like guidelines that you've created for students in their photos and videos, if you would be willing to share that in the chat, you can add a file. I think that would be super helpful for everyone. I don't have anyone specifically. I haven't made one specifically, but I give very specific feedback like this was not good, here's why. But it probably would be great for me to just have something to give them in the first place and say, here's what's okay, here's what's not.
Yeah, like
yeah.
I'm very specifically saying, like, okay, if the sun is here or your window in your bedroom is here, place the phone here and place yourself here and place audio here. And I'm still getting like such a wide variety. And it feels awkward because they're not my staff members. They're either in fitness or group exercise or adventure. And I know that those are other people's resources where normally my staff would be very trained on collecting this content. And so I'm struggling, you know, in this budget phase of, and then I'm having kind of programmers be like, it's good enough, just put it out, it's okay. And I'm like, oh, but we've worked so hard to build our brand, and I don't, you know, so I've maybe everybody can have a reaction if you're also dealing with that and how you are managing it, if we just have to let go of that during this time or not, you know.
Yeah, I think I thought really similar to that for a while. And then I actually watched the previous roundtable that happened a while back. And someone mentioned it in it that like during this time, yeah, we want good quality, but we also have to look at it that everything we put out is authentic and it is tough times all around for everyone. So just the fact that we're getting a video is helping people out there is just one big step, I think, too. I struggle with it too. I don't want to put out bad stuff. And I'd say don't put out bad stuff, but put it at a quality that you think represents your brand, even if it is a little lower at this time.
That's good advice. Thank you.
Does anyone have anything else on the quality topic or summer programming advice or just comments on that?
So we're teaming up with our athletic teams to do camp videos. So the athletes are filming and then I'm putting it together. So what I did for those, I just made in Premiere Pro an intro and an extra, super basic, just with the logo of the camps program and the athletic logo. And then at the end, it's all under a kinesiology program. So at the end, it just fades to a kinesiology logo, all super simple. So when they send in the videos, you're just adding those two things and it's on brand and it looks a little higher quality.
Cool, that's awesome. And that's a great way to involve athletics to get some partnership going on.
I'd say one thing we're doing here at Belmont for summer marketing is we're calling it Fit Rec by the Numbers. And so we're showcasing each program area and their different numbers from the past year. So that way, when it does come time to open and they're like, oh, you didn't promote my program area, I can actually go back and say, actually, we did. And here's what we've been putting out for your program, just to kind of be a safe buffer for myself, so they know that we are doing programming or marketing for their programs, even though marketing or programming is not going on right now. So if anyone has any questions about that, I'll drop my email address at the end and give you some more information.
So hey everyone, my name is Alex. I'm from Montclair State up in New Jersey, which is kind of the central part of where everything is going really badly. We've been told we are fully online for the summer. Our building closed about 6 weeks ago and will not open for the summer at all. I'm actually not in marketing, but all of our students, our marketing area is fully student run, and they are being removed from payroll on May 12th. So for the entire duration of the summer and any preparation for the fall, we've got nobody, including our website. We don't even have people who know how to update our website at this point. So we're being asked to basically come up with everything now and figure out as much as we can in the next, what is that, 7 days, 8 days? But a lot of the things we're doing in terms of programming, we're doing a lot of virtual stuff that is going to continue into the fall if we're not back on in person. I actually run aquatics and outdoor adventure, neither of which really lend themselves to not in-person stuff. But we're trying to do a lot of things that are, hey, you're out on your own. Here's how you be safe in the water. Here's how you read a hiking trail. Here's how you pack your backpack so you can be safe if anything goes wrong. And at this point, for the next week, I've got my students putting together the scripts, and I'm going to be filming myself, something I'm not comfortable with at all, but kind of have no choice, because otherwise I'm going to be working, you know, somewhere else in the university until our building reopens.
Sending you all the positive vibes, first of all, Alex. Like, good luck. Let us know if you need anything.
Alex, I would recommend Canva if you haven't, you know, gotten it just yet. Canva is a really nice app feature that you can go ahead and create your own content. So a novice, like even myself, I don't use Adobe. I have an amazing team to do that. Canva is my Adobe version, so to speak, where I can go ahead and create and it still looks reasonable versus anything else. And then if you have your staff, I would highly maximize for them to create templates, even Word templates. So we've done a lot of like Word portrait landscape versions with a header footer, as long as it looks good. So then all we have to do is put in text ourselves, and then you can easily save it as almost like a JPEG version. And this also helps if you are needing it for facility signage. So again, you mentioned like you don't have summer or possibly into fall staffing. So that's Canva, yeah. And so that's something that we've started doing. I'm also in the same boat. I may not have all my staff returning in the summer. So I'm like, I need as much templates as possible, because I myself might not be able to take on all the workload. So I might actually have to pass it to my colleagues to say, hey, type in what you need to do, and then I'll finish it up to upload. So yeah, I would highly recommend that feature, as well as a buffering schedule or a scheduling platform, so you can help schedule yourself out on some of the platforms you manage. And that would help alleviate some of that work. Our institution just told us about a new software or application called Stato or something. I'll put it on the chat. But if you're wanting to do those stories live, like the Instagram stories, you actually can use this and schedule for free for so many. It's very few, but you can purchase for scheduling as well. So that's definitely worth looking into.
Agreed to all of that for sure. So I have an idea that I came up with before this call, but I thought this was a good idea, a good time to insert said idea. So let me know while you comment on this. I'm going to ask for you to do two things in the chat. A, tell us if you have a reopen date, because someone wants to know that. And then B, let me know if you're interested in this. So I know some of us have student staff who help. Some of us don't. Some of us are creative and some of us aren't. So I thought that maybe we could share some of the content that we create, that we would be willing to like let someone take our design file or template and adjust to what you have going on. I don't know if that would help anyone else in their time, their schedule. So like, for example, if I had, I don't know, a nutrition demo, and I could say, has anyone designed a flyer about nutrition before? Then we could share files and not have to spend so much time on the creation side of things. The reason why the place that this comes from for me is I'm gonna not have student staff this summer, and I'm not gonna have time to focus on the marketing materials for that. So I'm trying to figure out what platform we could share this on. But at the end of this call, I'm gonna share a link for you to fill out your name and email address, and I will send you an email when this is done. So if you could chat in the chat box, let us know if you have a reopen date, and let us know if you would be interested in being part of that group. Because I want to work smarter, not harder. Like, that's my life right now. So yeah, we can keep that going. But let's see what other questions we had. If you guys have any theme days, like Maria, I know you talked about this a little bit last time, but maybe you want to drop it again. If you guys have theme days of the week that are like really fun, whether you do something on Instagram about it or maybe it's internal with your staff, can you list your theme days? I think that was really helpful last time, but also I know some people have expanded on that. So yeah, that would be great. And then if you have any more questions, you can drop them below. I think the only question that we really haven't gotten to is about wearing masks and stuff when you're back on campus. I know that that has been discussed a lot in like facilities calls and stuff. So, you know, I don't know if this group has the best answer for all of those. I don't, because I have no idea when we're going to reopen or what that team looks like. But if you do have some PPE precautions already in place for when you do reopen, can you let us know?
So this is Anthony again from University of Central Arkansas. I'm going to tell you that this is the guidance that the governor put out last week for all gyms and fitness facilities. Basically, employees, they have to have temperature checks to come in. The employees only, not the patrons. All patrons must wear masks while they are working out. If they are performing a cardiovascular exercise, they are allowed to remove that for the time being. But because we are because somebody like that is performing a more, what's the word I'm looking for, exerting exercise, that the social distancing now goes from 6 feet to 12 feet.
Thank you. And Anthony, you're from Arkansas, right?
That is correct.
All right, so I guess if you guys have any other notes on that, I think we have time for another question or two. So is there anything that anyone's dying to share or dying to know, like what would be helpful for you to do your job better in the next week or two that we can help you with?
I just, this is Caitlin again from JMU. I would just revisit the analytics. And if you haven't dived deep in them, they're only going to help you during this time to explain why you do things a certain way or why you're putting efforts in, like, because many people on your team probably could care less about social media, but now they care a lot about it, but they don't understand it. And I know I've struggled with a lot of our professional staff. They might only have Facebook, and so they don't see all the efforts that are being put forth other places. And so we've always tracked our analytics, and I know people have asked what you track, and so we always track engagements per post, so like likes, comments, shares, reach, and impressions. And then I have recently been asked to like collect data monthly and summarize it and send it to our board of visitors, and they're making like budget decisions based on our social media engagement. And so like we had 1.2 million impressions in the last month on our social media, and let me tell you, my director was very happy to hear that number just because it's large and impressive. And so I would say, I know it's tedious and it takes time, but find the time to do that, because I think people might lean on those numbers more when they're making big budget decisions, because they're like, well, UREC is reaching all of these students and having an impact in this time. Maybe we shouldn't cut their budget as much or something like that. So give your director, give your department those numbers to fall back on.
Yes, great advice, Caitlin. So I guess these two questions tie in together that I'm seeing in the chat. How are you boosting your following right now on social media? And like what advice would you give someone maybe who is new to the marketing, area, of how to get more interaction, get more engagement on your social media platforms? What would you say to that type of person?
I'll jump in here. I'm gonna drop a JPEG, and it was a really interesting graphic that I came across, and since then I have been paying a lot more attention to our video content, and it's basically the media consumption patterns of people in this post age of COVID. So if you look at the first two images, which is a majority of our public, it's the consumption of online videos is probably at an all-time high. That means that when we think about our posts, we really have to think about them in 3D. The text post is kind of something from a different age now, and so I have students that are still on payroll, and we do social media takeovers a lot, and those have been a hit. Sometimes they share stories late in the evening, so outside of traditional hours of operation that they don't normally see departments share. And in the morning I'm getting text messages like, oh, that was hilarious, and I have no clue what they're talking about because my bedtime over here with 2 babies is 8 o'clock. So I have to run on there and see what they're talking about. And I was given some very valuable advice. Is I always tell my students, don't do anything I wouldn't do. And so giving them that little piece of information and letting them kind of do their thing from there, them knowing the guidelines that we have, has been very, very valuable in them creating video content. So that's my little 2 cents. Video content has really spiked our engagement up across platforms. We're super new to TikTok, but we're putting stuff out there too. We just created our account like 3 months ago, and now we're, putting out content there, and people are engaging with it. So that's been very beneficial to us, is our homemade video content. Not the greatest quality, but it's there. We even have bloopers reels. So, of us trying to do stuff and it goes really, really wrong. So at the end of it, I'm like, send me all of your outtakes. And then we put them together in content, and we put those out there like, this is what happens. And they've been very fun, engaging, and they've been reshared a ton of times.
That's great. Thank you.
I'm sorry, this is Leanne Green from Auburn. And I was just going to share one thing that we are doing that is surprisingly has been successful for us to maintain engagement. I don't know how many of you actually are publishing a blog, but we do a health and wellness blog, and it has gone gangbusters as if we were still on campus. It makes sense logically because they have more time to actually spend in reading and watching video. But the engagement on the blog and the unique visitors since around the middle of March has been very, very beneficial to us. And so that's one thing that I think if you're doing that, I didn't know if any of you were still seeing that they were still listening. Also, I've always built in evergreen content to my social media strategy, whether and that's basically link-based content in the midst of all of the register for this, sign up for this, do this, and so I've had a very strong evergreen post where we're actually linking out to other people, which seems counterintuitive. But what it did for us during this time has saved us, and it has kept everything that we are doing going almost just like it was before. Basically, we removed all the promotional posts for the program areas, and then we still have this somewhat fluid social strategy that continues on. And that combined with the blog and also Instagram has been good to us it's a joke, but we have a strong following on Facebook, believe it or not. It's crazy. I don't think students like to admit it, that they peek out there, but we do have a lot of information there, and we get a lot of engagement there. Not a lot of crazy, it's so funny, not a ton of engagement, likes, comments, whatever. We get a lot of views and we get a lot of links to other things. So that's just something kind of that we're doing, where we've kind of used the organic content to our benefit, because we don't have all the program information like we usually do to promote. That's really kept us engaged with our audience.
Thank you for sharing. That's awesome that you have such great engagement. I'm envious of you. And Leanne, if you want to share a link to your blog, I'm sure people would love to check out what you have going on there. So we only have about 4 minutes left. So I just want to do some quick housekeeping things and wrap things up. So if you're interested in, thanks for sharing that. If you're interested in doing another call, again, we always get really talkative the last 20 minutes, and then the first 30 to 40, it's like, who are we? We're just meeting for the first time. It's great. I love it. So if you would like to have another one of these roundtables in the future, we'll get another one going. Just let us know in the chat if this has been helpful for you. And then I'm going to put some resources into the chat for you, a couple at a time. So I'm going to give you Kendra and I's contact information, as well as the NIRSA Marketing Professional Facebook group. So that's a great place too. And then if you are interested in that, what I talked about, the like file and design share process, this is going to be the form for that. And let's see what else. Another thing that was requested was kind of a directory to be made of all of our websites, our social media, etc. That is going to be at this link that I'm putting in. And the last thing that I'm going to provide you is, if we do another marketing roundtable again, here is the link to put all your future questions. So if you want to take a moment and share that, or save the chat to your computer, you'll save all the links. Also, the chat will be saved and posted with this live recording in the next day or two. But if you want those links right away, and then, yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So, you know, if you guys are interested in doing another one of these in the future, we'll look into doing it maybe in a couple weeks. And then, yeah, that's just kind of where we're at. So we'll leave the room open right until the top of the hour, so you can save anything that you're needing right away. But other than that, I really appreciate you all hanging in there with us, giving us some feedback, some responses. I really appreciate you all. You're doing good things, you're doing hard things, and we're gonna make it. So yeah, just hang in there and know that I'm here for you, and feel free to reach out at any time. And of course, thanks to NIRSA for letting us host these roundtables. I know for every area it's been really helpful. So I just thought we should all get together and see what we're doing. So you're awesome, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. See you later.